Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast, where we explore consciousness, creation, existence, and evolution through conversations with the universal beings who created existence and the universe itself. Why? Because truth matters. Truth is important. And truth isn't opinion, it's not perspective, it's a direct impression, it's a direct experience of something that occurred in existence. And right now, we see this over and over and over again. People demanding truth, people wanting truth, people searching for truth, but they're using their brains to try and access it. And this is what makes it a very slippery slope. Why? Because when truth is, the word they're using is devoured, but when it's searched out, when it's, they're showing me, it's like detectives, police detectives, or when they're looking for truth, they're not coming from a place of purity. They're already coming from a place of perspective, right? And truth doesn't actually have perspectives. Truth is an encoded experience that occurred in existence. And that truth is suspended there, if you will. Okay, that's how truth works, right? If you want to know something about anything in existence, that's how it works. That's what consciousness is. It's a library of all those impressions, okay? Impressions can't be changed, at that level, right? They're energetic impressions. And ultimately, that's what the story of creation has been explaining. But this is like a very short, let's condense this into, a minute and a half explaining it. But ultimately, that's what truth is, okay? The power of truth is fundamentally different, but truth itself is information that doesn't need to be decoded. It doesn't need to be searched out. It doesn't need to be figured out. What it needs to be is accepted. And that's very, very different. Accepted means you allow yourself to look at a situation, an experience, from the perspective that it occurred. And this is where humanity is struggling. Why? Because our brains cannot comprehend the evil behind so many of the things that are being revealed. Okay? So ultimately, we've been on this journey in the Authentic Human Podcast to uncover the truth of existence, yes, but also to now uncover the truth of how humanity has been manipulated, how we've gotten into this place where information like this needs to be revealed. And it's actually quite fascinating. But it's fascinating for very specific reasons. And they're sharing that it's two that are very specific and very interesting. Why? Number one is because as humans, okay, we experience our day-to-day lives through visions that we've created that determine who we are, who we need to be, and how we're meant to exist, okay? But those visions are based on rules that we've been taught. Very specific rules on who you are, what you're capable of, what you're meant to be doing, and how those visions, if you will come to pass, okay? And so universally, your visions don't connect, if you will, okay? So this is going to be a big jump today, okay? We're going to be going, the intention is to allow your brain to accept the limitations of your perspective, okay? That's ultimately what we're talking about. Why are we doing this? Is so that you can actually accept more truth. That's what we need to do. We need to create a state of being where that enables you, okay, to accept more truth, even, especially, not even, especially the ones that make you uncomfortable. Okay. So you're literally going to go from one state of being to another inside of this episode. So just, if you've never, this is your first time here, give it a shot. Okay. Give it a shot. Feel into the energy as it's flowing, but allow yourself to have the experience of what these universal beings are sharing today. Why? It's coming out of my mouth. Yes. It's through conversations that I'm having with universal beings. So they're sharing, sometimes they share directly with me specific information. And that's when I say, they're using this specific word, or they're showing me this visual, and I will paint that picture for you as best that I can. There are definitely days I'd love to be an artist, a visual artist. But ultimately, the goal is for you to have a complete experience today, an understanding of how truth has been hidden. Okay. That's what they're going to do. They're going to show you, because truth remains hidden simply because they've trained humans not to accept it. That's really all it is. So our goal today is to allow you to expand your perspective of what truth is, yes, but expand your perspective of your ability to receive truth from a higher power. And again, this is not like God is going to give you the truth or Jesus is going to give you the truth. Those are not the higher powers that they're talking about. Okay. The higher power is the frequency and vibration. Okay. So that's energy. Frequency and vibration is the attunement of your energy, right? And so ultimately, it's about allowing your energy to communicate with the energy of consciousness and the energy of the universe. Those are separate energetic bodies, really. And so what we want to do is allow you to tap into consciousness itself. Okay, so this is going to be like a crash course. But the goal is for you to allow yourself to perceive information from the universal perspective. Why? Because that's going to allow you to access truth. If you can't get answers, it's not because the answers aren't available. It's because you're not open to the information that needs to come through in order for that truth to come to you. Okay. So for example, right now, there's a lot of information that's being revealed, to the whole world through the Epstein files. Okay. About dynamics that are hard to accept, right? So we've got dynamics of child abuse, child molestation. We've also got extreme, child trafficking, human trafficking. It's crazy. But we also have cannibalism and humans selling babies for consumption. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Okay. Your brain doesn't want to accept these experiences as truth because they're horrific. They're horrific from a universal perspective. Okay. And for you to accept that there are humans out there that will do these things means, okay, that you have to recognize the world that you live in and the world you're participating in. That's a really hard pill to swallow, okay? But we've also got hundreds of thousands of people who already know this information, and they are angry. They've been, discovering this information for years now. This isn't new information, but it's understanding that those who created these dynamics, they're not from this universe. And you need to understand that first and foremost. Why? Because that's the fundamental divide. Okay? That's what makes them able to do these things. And it makes your stomach turn. Okay? Now, the other dynamic is people that got caught up in this web, okay? They were manipulated. And it's not so much that they consented. I mean, ultimately they did make the choice to participate, but what was happening is they were being manipulated into, it's not it's not even participating against their will. Like, that's not even what they're talking about. What they're talking about is they managed to create a dynamic in society where humans felt powerless enough that they would make choices that go against their better judgment. And I want you to feel now for a minute. They want you to feel. They want you to take a moment. Okay, so I've got Jesus here. I've got the Creator. I've got Gaia. I've got Pan. I've got angelics. There's so many universal beings here today. Why? Because they want you to feel this. They want you to begin to understand how the universe works, right? Not only how this happened, because that's not really the question that you need to ask. It's not how did this happen? It's what happened on a universal level? How did this come into being? And who am I meant to be to get to the other side of it? Okay. So when you start to recognize that humans do things not because we're evil, but because we don't feel like we have another choice. Okay. And so I want you to feel into an experience where you have accomplished a goal, is the words they're using. So I'm just going to give specific words. So they want to ask you, when you've accomplished a goal that made you feel better than you are without having to do the work. And what I mean is, where did you take advantage of a system? Where did you not participate in a clean way that allowed you to get ahead? Okay. Now, they also want you to begin to look at this situation from a bigger perspective. Okay. What was your overall goal for getting there? Why was it so important to you to get there that it didn't matter if you didn't participate cleanly? Because that's what's been going on in human existence for tens of thousands of years. And we're all participating. You're no better than anyone else. And how do people let this happen? Because they put themselves in a position where power can be used against them. Okay? And every single one of us is susceptible to it. Why? Because it happens when something is important to you. It happens when something means something to you. When that goal is more important than suffering, when that goal is more important than fulfilling your role in existence in that moment. What does that even mean, right? That's kind of what I want to talk about. Is let's break that down. And it's really fascinating because the Creator, what he's saying is, like, that's the bigger overall overarching, right? That's the umbrella. Okay. Underneath that umbrella are many, he's saying many different dynamics of how we participate in humankind. Okay. And what he means by participate in humankind is how our day-to-day efforts, right? So the things that we choose to do, that's an effort. How our day-to-day efforts impact global expansion or resistance, is the way he's wording it. So ultimately, humanity has been trained to deflect truth in in lieu of performance rituals, is the words that they're using. So what that means, deflect truth in lieu of performance rituals. So performance rituals occur when a human being does not know not only why they exist, but they don't know their own self-worth. Okay? And ultimately self-worth was the first thing they targeted when they were intending to control and manipulate, but they didn't realize the impact that it was going to have, like the manipulators. So they're showing me, like, once they start, and yes, the manipulators are also here ish, they're in the background, but the creator is showing me. And if you want to know more about them, I would highly suggest going back into part 112 and part 113 of the story of creation. This is part 114. I just realized I probably didn't even say that at the beginning because the energy was so high today. So I apologize. This is part 114 of the story of creation. And so what he wants to explain is these manipulators, and he is in the creator again, okay? These manipulators targeted self-worth, but they didn't, here's the thing, they didn't set their intention, okay? So the essence and really the secret of existence is intention becomes energy, becomes experience. That is it. That is clear, and it's for everything. So they did not intend to impact self-worth in the way that it occurred. Okay. What their original goal was to create a society where humans believed in, it's interesting. It's like they wanted to see if they could create a society where it was a soulless society. And what they mean by that is where humans were disconnected from their souls, their soul energy, because once you're disconnected from that truth and that awareness, you can't access consciousness, you can't access truth, you can't access the universe, you can't access any aspect of existence. Now, I know this is a lot of information in a very short period of time. However, they're sharing it, so they know that you're ready. And I just get to be the messenger and hopefully explain it in the best way possible for you. So in creating this dynamic of, so their intention, again, super simple, a soulless society, right? So that's, so a soulless society can feel it. It's based on terms, it's based on conditions, it's based on systems, it's based on, the word they're using is anarchy. I don't even know the full definition of anarchy, but ultimately it's civilized and control hell, if you will. That's the exact words that they're using. And that was their intention for the experience that that's now unfolding, that we are now as humans experiencing. Okay. So what happened is that was their original intention. And what originally occurred was that it began to it began to eat away. It's not quite the right words, but fester in our self-worth. Okay. So self-worth, this is really important to understand, is self-worth is your recognition of who you are in this universe. Okay. That's why the first 50 episodes of the story of creation kept building more information of who you are, why you exist, right? That's really, it's been the first 100 episodes, really. It's who you are, why you exist. Because if you don't know that information, you cannot have a healthy self-worth. Self-worth is not about how you see yourself in the physical world. It's not. And that's why people are still suffering. That's why we still have mental health issues. When you don't understand who you are, you're grasping at straws to find solutions to make you feel better. And what happens when you're grasping at straws to make yourself feel better? You will do anything because you become desperate. And then when you're desperate, you're susceptible to mass manipulation. It's very simple. Their plan was extremely simple. And yet it created anarchy. It created a society where humans are too scared to not only feel the truth and accept the truth, but to act on that truth even when they do get it. Acting on truth doesn't mean you wage a war, because truth knows there's no such thing. Truth doesn't need a war. Truth doesn't need to be proven. It just is. And right now, we need to create a tidal wave of truth. Because this tidal wave that took out self-worth from human existence is what's causing the suffering. It's not lack of food. It's not one bad guy over here or 10 bad guys over there. That's not the problem. And as long as you're still looking to find someone who's responsible, you're not going to find the solution. That's what they taught us. They taught us to keep looking, to keep searching for the information we want based on a society that doesn't exist in the universe. It only exists in our minds. The society that demands proof, the society that, has detectives who are going to get the information, then they're going to seek it out. But the truth is, it's right there. Every single human has access to it. Your mind doesn't need to figure anything out. It doesn't need to put pieces together. You have direct access to universal truth, to consciousness itself. The problem is you don't want to hear it because it is horrific. So how do we deal with that? That's the next part in the process. It's learning to recognize how to detach yourself from your emotional reactions. Why? Because you can't get to the truth if you're continuously in a cycle. It's like a cyclone of emotional reactions. Your emotional reactions are all based on the things you've been taught, the things you've learned based on society. Here's the thing. And I know this is going to be, again, this is going to be right here, a truth that is really hard for you to accept, okay? It's hard for me to accept. But the reality is, death is a part of civilized living. This society that's been created thrives on death. Why does it thrive on death? Because the concept of death has created the ultimate fear in human beings. The ultimate. So now, when we see experiences and situations that are unfolding, where there's mass deaths, we're horrified. We're absolutely horrified. But the truth of the situation is that those souls chose to participate in that experience. I know your brain is like, but my family wouldn't do that. My son, my child, my daughter. You have to remember that we're not living consciously in the world right now. We're living underneath rocks. We're hiding from debris, if you will. And that debris is all truth. Because the things that we've seen, the things that we've heard, the things that we know could come to pass, again, are horrific. But in a society of original existence, where there wasn't civilized society at all. It was based on truth. Mass existence based on truth. Just feel that for a minute. Because currently there are about 4%, so the 8 billion people on the planet are less than 4% of all the human souls in existence. Okay. And yet the universe is still here. But how would that be? If 8 billion people can't get along, then I don't even know the numbers. But it's less than 4%. So I'm sure you can kind of figure out just how many universal beings that is. It's infinite. And yet they can get along. There's no war in the universe. The only war is on the planet. It's among humans. Because we've been trained and taught that war exists. But what if it didn't exist? Right. Because here's the truth. When you know who you are, you don't need or want for anything other than your own existence and exploring your own potential. You're self-governing. You literally have full awareness of existence, and you don't have to take advantage of anyone to get where you want to go, because you understand that how everything you do and want and are meant to experience, you understand how that's woven into existence. You don't need to step on someone to get where you want to go. The only things and the only reasons we do these things is because we can't remember who we are. We can't remember the truth of existence. It's not because you're less than. It's not because you're, a horrible person. It's because you've become desperate. Why? How did you come to a place where you are desperate? Whether you're desperate for connection with other human beings, you're desperate to feel a connection with yourself, to recognize your own worth, to understand and know why you exist. Maybe you're desperate in your career, in your financial situation, in your deepest relationships. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're at a place, humanity is at a place in existence, in evolution, where you need to begin to recognize where you are desperate. Because that fear isn't going to go away until you allow yourself to recognize the truth. And if your truth is that you're waiting for everybody else to get it because you've already gotten it, I can tell you that you haven't gotten it yet. You're still angry. You're still terrified. The truth is, humanity needs to heal. But we can't do that without truth. We can't do that from inside this civilized community strategy and structure that's been created. Why? Because it's like a dome. You know what a dome does? It's solid on the top. It limits your connection to the universe. It limits your connection to yourself. And then there'll be moments where you felt things so deeply, and you see truth, and you can see how things connect, the dots, how they go together. And that terrifies you even more. Because it's a level of truth you don't want to have to deal with. It's not that you don't want the truth. You don't want to have to deal with what knowing that truth means. So you find something to completely take up your focus. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's sex. Maybe it's shopping. Maybe it's food. And you obsess over it. You see, addictions addictions are not bad things. They're not just drug addictions and alcohol addictions. Of course, we've been told, right? Those are diseases and illnesses. But the truth is, it's your self-preservation system kicking into high gear because your central nervous system is on overload. How do we deal with that? Well, ultimately, you have to have a really good talk with yourself. The only way we're going to get through this as a human race is for you to recognize that inside of you is a power so great and so magnificent that it actually has the capacity to take down the control and manipulation almost instantaneously. It's making me very emotional and I am shaking. And that power is your ability to accept truth. Because here's the thing, when you accept truth and you become that level of truth, when you hear information, your energy stays in the frequency and vibration of truth. It does not react and go into all the possibilities and all the potentials that your mind wants to tell you. It holds true. It holds true on a universal level because truth is a universal energy. Fear isn't. Control isn't. Manipulation isn't. Judgment isn't. And when you can hold that energy, you become a beacon of truth. So your frequency and vibration, okay, you're attuning them. That's your energy. So you're attuning your energy through frequency and vibration, right? Frequency is you tuning into truth. And then the vibration is now you become truth. And when you become truth, you hold that space in the universe for more truth to spread. Okay? Truth is not judgment. Truth is not blame. Truth is not, look at him, he did this. Look at her, she did that. That's not truth, guys. When you're on a universal level, truth is recognition of an experience that occurred, and you must decide who you're going to be and what you're going to do as a result of that information. If it has nothing to do with you and your path, move on. Move on. Ignore it. If you are having a conversation with someone else, can you believe this? And can you believe that? And can you believe this? That's not truth. That is not truth. It just isn't. Truth does not tell other people how they need to see things and what they need to see. Truth means you embody an energy that is giving you the opportunity to not only hold that frequency and vibration, but to create experiences moving forward based on truth. And that's the point. That's the whole point. They created a system, okay? And you have to get into that, right? When you're talking about that cyclone, they created a system that keeps going. It keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. Why would they do that? And how did they know to do that? Because our universe is created in the same manner, but with completely different intentions. Our cyclone, okay, our universal cyclone of awareness it's based on truth. It's based on 9 fundamental universal energies. It's based on truth and purity and joy and movement, balance, purity. These are all big ones. Compassion, respect, love, and illumination. All of them. Those 9 fundamental energies, each of them at a frequency in the universe. But when you combine all 9, that is the heart of the universe. And you've reached it. You've attained it. That's enlightenment. It's the ultimate. That's what we're all striving to get back to. No matter what your experience is, whether you're going through a spiritual route, or if you're going through the route of analytical mind, if you're going through a scientific route, if you're going through journalism, it doesn't matter. But it's understanding that that is the ultimate goal for all humans. It's why we exist, is to be in alignment with the universe, the heart of the universe, the soul of the universe itself. Because when we're in connection with that frequency and that vibration, everything that we want is possible. And we're actually creating an expanding consciousness. We're expanding the universe itself. What does that mean? That means that everything that you do impacts how the universe sees itself, how the universe recognizes its own abilities. And it expands. What the universe is capable of expands. That's existence. That's the cyclone. That's the energies that keep swirling around us. So they use the same system, except they filled it with all kinds of energies to completely block our awareness. Now, there's nobody up there watching to see if you get through the block. No, that's the point. No one's actually blocking you. They created a system with the intention to take away human sovereignty. And they did it. Not because someone's up there watching to see if someone gets through, but because you keep signing up for it. Every single time you get angry, frustrated, fearful, and you look for ways to try and fix the situation. We're not here to fix. We're not fixers. We're explorers. We're explorers of our own potential. But you can't explore your potential if you don't know who you are. You don't know why you exist. How can you possibly go on a journey, right? And a journey is just life. It's your existence. How can you possibly move forward in that journey if you don't know why you're moving forward? And so we sit and we wait. And we hope like heck we're going to figure it out. We hope someone's going to tell us. We hope someone's going to give us a message. We hope someone's going to be the guiding light. And when you hear someone say a little bit of truth over here, or a little bit of truth, you're like, ah, yes, you're the one. You're going to help me. Or you have an experience and all of a sudden you're like, that's how we do it. Right? That's how modalities are created. That's how courses are created, because someone somewhere found something that worked for them. And they're like, here, come on, try it. I can sell it to you. We're not really here to buy anything. We're not here to sell anything. And yet we're here to experience everything. So at the end of the day, you can have the awareness and experience of everything in existence simply by setting an intention. You can buy it all. You don't have to buy anything and you can have it all. But the thing is, if your intention is coming from a fear of, well, I want it and I'm not going to pay for it, that's a fear. Because that fear is very clear. It clearly says, I'm not good enough to have money. I'm not good enough to have what I need to want to have that experience. So I'm going to defy everybody. Again, go back to the universal existence. 8 billion is only 4%. So those, I don't even know the numbers. But if you go back and look, go back, and why I say back is because those are ancient humans. And yet they're simultaneously existing right now. There's no such thing as time and space. You're just having a human physical experience. And it's outside of the realm of existence only because you've chosen to walk outside the realm of existence. And the moment you choose to walk back into the truth of existence, all is revealed to you. It's not a mystery. It's not held back from you. But you have to want to see the ugliness. And you have to want to let it be what it is. If you're still trying to fight against so that ugliness doesn't happen anymore, here's the thing. It stops happening when no one focuses on it. When we are no longer able to be taken advantage of, it stops. But if you're angry that you're being taken advantage of, or you're seeing other people being taken advantage of, it will continue. I know that that is hard to accept. Mostly because we've been taught to fight for our rights, fight for what you believe in, because that's the right thing to do. But what if truth knows a better way? What if truth knows the path forward isn't about resentment, anger, retaliation, but it's about existence, your potential, your self-worth, and the truth of why you're here and why you actually exist. And what if you followed that path, you could create a world that's not only extraordinary, but it's completely aligned with the core of your own existence and the truth of existence itself. What if you could, every day, exist in alignment with the soul of the universe? Would you want that? Or is your anger more important? Is your resentment, is it more important than you experiencing truth? What about your fear? Because here's the thing. Your fear is what's holding you back from experiencing these truths. But you're extraordinary. Your capacity to understand existence is innate within you. You don't need someone to tell you. You don't need someone to tell you how existence works. You can feel it. But you're going to have to allow yourself to remove any and every belief that gets in the way. You have to cut it away. Sometimes it's bullshit out of people's mouths, right? There's a lot of people who are going to think that this is not real, and that's okay. But if they heard it, it's because they were meant to. And there's a seed of truth in them now. You know what happens when that seed of truth is there? It grows. It's going to start to allow them to doubt, not themselves, but the system in a way that they haven't before. And for those of you who are searching for a way to create a new world, to create the world that humans are meant to exist in, because you know you're meant to be a part of that, this is the way. Leaders of the new world must resonate 100% in truth before the new world can be built. And everything they're showing me that is holding us back is going to be revealed by the end 2026, 2027, 2028. But the new world is being created now. Okay? We don't create a new world by using the system that's broken, right? Humanity's not broken, the system is. We know that. And you don't build the new world by using the system that broke us. You build the new world by coming back into alignment with existence. That world is already here. You don't actually even have to put all the effort into building it. You just have to come back into alignment with it. And that's what we're doing. One truth at a time. You go back and look. The universe in December 2021 set the intention that this universe, originally based on love, which is the energy of connection, needed to shift and change to the energy of truth. So the foundation is now truth. There are 9 fundamental energies total. It's a lot bigger conversation. I've been having this conversation in our private community for the last 5 years. So it's an extensive conversation. But the point is, truth is the foundation. Go back and look at the patterns. Look at how life changed. Look at the information that's been revealed since 2021, December 2021, versus everything before. Okay? Start to notice The world is a reaction to universal existence. It's not the other way around. People don't tell the universe what to do. The universe isn't telling you what to do. You're not waiting. If you're waiting for the universe to tell you what to do, also not in alignment with universal existence. The universe created a foundation for you to explore. So your job is to explore truth. How do you do that? By accepting it on a universal level, free of any judgment, any misunderstanding, any manipulation inside of you. That's the hard part right now. Why? Because we've been told and trained for thousands and thousands of years what to believe and what to not, what to accept and what to reject. So all those things you easily accept, question them. All those things you reject, question them. Because humanity is not suffering because someone did something to us. Humanity is suffering because we don't want to see the truth. And the truth is so simple. All of this suffering literally could be ended tomorrow. The entire system could be stopped in the blink of an eye. In one moment, if every human being chose to vibrate in the frequency and the energy of truth, destruction, trauma, suffering would cease. That's the power you have. It's the truth. It's being able to accept the truth and then choosing who you're going to be as a result. What are you going to do with that awareness that you have? Your job is to keep going, not to fight, to keep finding more truth and then aligning with it. Because when you're aligned with truth, the anger and the resentment goes away. And you can understand why people do the things they do. But more importantly, you see the bigger picture of what we need to do to come back online, to come back into truth and love and compassion and respect. We don't have any of those energies right now in the world, in the universe. Right? We're living in a society that's based on judgment. That's our culture. Our culture, our society is based on the exchange of judgment. How crazy is that? And yet we accept it every single day. And when you participate in it, that's you accepting it. That's you aligning inside of this world that's been created for us to try and take away our sovereignty. And you're angry, and you feel alone, and you're frustrated. But sovereignty is self-recognition. It's recognition of your own existence. And until you can get back to that place of truth, that place of recognition that you are the key to solving all of this, we'll get through it. And that's the whole point. Every human is a leader. We're self-governing, we're self-healing, we're self-sustaining. And yet, humans still don't want to see that it's that simple. Why? Because it means that the years of abuse and suffering that you've experienced didn't have to happen. That's a harder pill to swallow. If you look back at all the challenges that you've experienced that brought you suffering, that brought you pain, that brought other people pain, what if they didn't have to happen? Because every human had the capacity to accept the truth. Because those who are trying to control us, when you don't follow them, they don't exist. Yes, they've set up systems, create illusions that you have to follow. But it's understanding when you align with truth, you know You know which rules aren't meant to be followed. You recognize and understand that there are some that will have to remain for some time, right? It just is the way it is. Things like taxes and things like, you still have to pay those things right now. You still have to pay your payments on your mortgage and your car. It's not going to just dissolve overnight. But that's not where your power lies. Your power lies in truth. Because here's the real truth. When you align at that level, that frequency, you understand the flow of energy. You know what happens? There are no hardships. There is no suffering. Because anything you want comes through. If you want millions of dollars, it comes through. You want the best relationship you've ever had, it comes for you. But it demands the truth. All of those things demand in return that you become the person who can hold the energy for that experience. That's where we're going. Those demands aren't made because you can't handle it, because you're not meant to have it, and someone's trying to hurt you and hold those things away from you. No, because you're being shown that you're so much more. And it's time for you to accept it. That's the truth. You want to reclaim your sovereignty, you have to accept the truth that you're a powerful universal being, and you've been using that energy to feed the control and manipulation, feed the system. So start to use your energy in a way that not only recognizes your greatness, but allows you to contribute to a future of human existence that's aligned with the universe itself. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested, I highly suggest you click the button and go back and watch the beginning of the story of creation and all the way through. Start to notice now how the pieces are coming together. It's universal truth layered so that you can come to a place of a greater acceptance of who you are, your role in the universe, but also understanding how the universe itself works and exists. Not only as not a separate experience from you, but it's a part of who you are. It's a whole new level of acceptance, but we'll get there. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Michelle Vickers. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you next time.